Really? I got other shit to do.
Right.
Okay, so my plan was to study tonight.
All right.
I didn't finish my other classes.
All right, guys.
Hello, everyone. Hello. Thank you guys so much for coming. So we're going to teach y'all how to make some scouting reports, and it's going to be amazing. Frank, do you want to tell me a little bit?
A little bit about what we did last season. So as you all know, this is DOSA's main job. Coaches love our job, and this year what we're gonna do is pretty similar with last season, but this year we are gonna expand to the women's basketball team because we showed some of our examples to the women's coach, and she said she loves it, and we'll try to have their first opponent set up for our first scouting report. And just for your records, like our women's basketball team is, way better than our men's.
The women are way better than the guys.
Yeah, like
for sure, yeah.
And the first two opponents, our women's team played Texas A&M and UCLA. They're like top 25 in the country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's going to be who we're scouting. We already sent out the first couple of assignments. Like we said, we're going to pair you guys up to start off with. We have about 20 of y'all this year, which is excellent. It's a huge step up from last year.
Yep.
So for the first few scouts, at least, we're going to keep you guys in pairs. It's going to be mostly up to y'all's discretion how much you work together with your partner. Ideally, what we'd like you to be sitting down, and at least for the first one, sitting down and doing them like together and walking through. But if that's not, if you guys can't find a time to meet up or whatever, then kind of just doing it on your own and then comparing at the end. And then once you guys finish those, we put some due dates. The first due date is about like 6 days, I think, for the first men's scout against St. Thomas, which is a preseason game that we're doing. And then when you do those, we'll be showing you guys how we'll give you guys a template. You'll be doing it in PowerPoint, and then you'll be sending that final product to Frank and I. And then we'll be compiling it all into a team scout, and we'll kind of review your guys' products as well. And if there's anything that we think is kind of missing or could be improved upon a little bit, we'll give you guys some feedback with that as well. But we think that by having the partners, you guys should be able to figure it out pretty well. And we think that this run through will be pretty well for instructional. So yeah, what you're gonna need for this is you're gonna have so all this is gonna be done in PowerPoint for you guys, the individual player scouts. When we actually assemble it, it's gonna be a Word document and then a PDF, but you guys are gonna be doing it in PowerPoint. You have to use, so this is kind of shitty, not gonna lie, but Synergy requires you to use Internet Explorer. Safari also works, Jason?
I think so.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, Safari works.
Safari works, okay.
So on Windows, you have to use Internet Explorer, like instead of Internet Edge.
Yeah.
Because for the Synergy's video feature, it requires Spotlight, like Microsoft Spotlight, which doesn't support Google Chrome or Internet Edge. So
yeah,
you have to use the old version of IE.
Yeah. So basically just make sure you have the web browser downloaded for Internet Explorer. I know it's not the best web browser, but like it's fine. So you're just gonna go onto Synergy when you get that. So when you do that, just make sure you look up like Synergy Sports, and when you click on it, this will be the opening thing. Our login is repbonner@rice.edu, and our password is riceowls06.
We'll send it to you. So.
Yeah, we're gonna make sure you guys have that email and password. Luckily, Synergy supports as many people logging in at once, so it's not gonna be an issue that like 2 people are doing their scouts at the same time on the same account. Everyone will be able to do it. So when you first open up Synergy, this is what your home page is gonna look like. The very first thing we're going to do is, in your walkthrough, do you have them doing the shot charts first, or do you have them doing straight to the analytics?
First, what I actually had them doing is, okay, so here, let me show you a template.
Yeah.
These are what this is the template that is loading. Try this all the time.
There we go.
Perfect, okay. So easy stuff, name, number, position, all that. That's pretty easy. Best way to find that is from their team websites.
Yeah. So if you just Google, we'll give you the player name, obviously, that you're assigned to. If you Google your player's name and their team, it'll take you to their team website. You can get name, what their position is, which we're just going to say guard, forward, or center. If you want to specify point guard, shooting guard. guard. That's all good. And then just height,
Height,
weight, what number they are, and then what if they're a freshman, sophomore, or junior, and then make sure to include if they were a red shirt, it'll tell you on the team website. If they were a red shirt or if they transferred schools from somewhere else. I think the first men's scout that we're doing, there's no transfer players, but I know that the Texas A&M women's scout, they have a couple of transfer players, so just make sure to specify that. And when you do scout transfer players, you are going to have to remember that at least for our beginning of the year, we're only going to be using last year's data and last year's film because obviously like they haven't started playing yet this year. So you're going to need to go to whatever team they were on last year, scout that. And then we want to give, like, it'll tell you on the team website as well, their hometown and state and what high school they went to. Yeah.
And
so
also the
that's
headshot from the website.
Yeah.
I tell you how to do headshot and whatnot. on
Yep.
here.
So we have in this instructional thing that we're going to be sending to you guys, yeah, just make sure that we're just going to have it to where we crop all of the images the same so we can pile them into a team report. It's all uniform, looks nice and consistent for the coaches.
Yep.
Yeah. So, all right, let's go ahead and get started with the fun part of it then.
Yep.
Synergy.
Cool. All right, so Synergy is super powerful, and if you guys are basketball nerds like us, feel free to play around with it like a lot, just
Yeah.
whenever, because
Yeah.
it has a lot of really cool information on it.
It also has, you see NBA, WNBA, college men, college women.
Yep, all of that. So if you ever just are bored in class and want to watch Allen Iverson highlights or something like that, I don't know if they have back to 2001, but
I think they do.
more recent players, you can go and just watch whoever you want and look at their game stats, all of their breakdowns and stuff, which I think is pretty cool.
It has like every past game you could go
Yeah,
watch, or
it's pretty
all
crazy.
of Steph Curry's pull-up jumpers from the left elbow in 2008 or whatever. You can
Yeah.
look that up.
So the first thing we're going to be doing, if you'll notice, do you want to go back to the template really quickly?
Sure.
Yeah, so under the template, we have, besides this basic information with the headshot and this, the other first super basic thing you can get before you start getting into the actual like analytics and film part of the scouts is you're going to want to get your shot chart. So the way you get that is all going to be on Synergy. We're going to put this in the breakdown for you guys, but go to analytics and then under multi-game shot chart, open that up, and since it's Internet Explorer, sometimes the load times are a little bit slow. Just try not to get frustrated. Yeah, so once you do this, you'll specify based on the team, I believe.
Does anyone have a preference? Who should I pull up?
Anyone?
Ohio State Buckeyes.
Who from Ohio State?
Give them
Jay
that
Sean Tate.
from
Yeah.
last year.
Yeah.
Got it. So notice I flipped to 2017-18. You can't really see
Yeah.
it. But
So for once we get more into the season, I think for about the first 5 games, since before that it's a pretty small sample size to use this season. For about the first 5 games, we're going to be exclusively looking at the data and the shot charts from last year. So make sure you get that specified that we're looking at last year, and then you can go and find the team for the guy that you're looking on.
college men, college women, if we're doing women's scouts.
Yeah, you can specify college men, college women. They'll give you that option, and then just go ahead and load that up. Once this loads, it'll be coming up with the information of the team, of the shot charts for the entire team. But what you want is just the player specified. So once it loads up with all that, then you can go in and it'll let you like select player, and then you just select the player you're looking at. Yeah. So.
Players up in the top left.
Yep, and then pick whoever you like. Looking at Tate. All right, so now this is just the shot chart for Tate. Synergy offers 3 different types of shot charts. The one we're going to be concerned with is this one right here in the middle, since this is like the most basic and easy to read one, and in our opinion, the most useful one. So as you guys can see, I imagine for those of you that haven't seen a shot chart like this before, like this is basically just saying that from this region of the court, he went 3 out of 11, shooting 27% from that spot specifically, and then all the different, how many shot attempts. So he took a garbage ton of shots just around the rim, 256 right around, and then, yeah. So when you first pull up this shot chart, you're gonna be, Jason provides more exact instructions in the handout, but you're gonna be screenshotting this, making sure it looks nice and pretty in the dimensions that we like, and putting it right there. Pretty simple. Also, something I think that's beneficial is that this is the first thing that you're looking at. So it kind of gives you a general idea of what type of a player this is, because for most of the players that we're scouting this year, you guys will probably have never heard of them before. So other than their position at this point and what their height and weight is, you don't really know how they play. But this will start giving you a general idea, and I think it's kind of helpful moving forward. And if you see something on this shot chart that like especially jumps out to you, like maybe if this player had just a lot of shots coming from the right side of the court relative to the left side of the court, that's something that you can note mentally or write down in your report for later, and then you'll be able to get more specific with that later. But it starts to get you some kind of general ideas, general trends of the player. Jason, were you going to say something else? Or?
Nope.
Right. Anything else with the shot charts?
Nope.
Yeah, so that's pretty simple, not very hard to do. Just going to have to go navigate through Synergy and get it, put it on there. So after we're done with that.
Yeah, you're done with the shot chart.
Yep, so we can go ahead and get out of there. And now we're back at the home page. So the way to look at the player breakdowns, we're going to select player. If it's college men's scout, then we'll do this. Make sure to specify for the first few scouts, it's going to be last year that we're looking at, like I said. Once we get a little bit more into the season, it's going to be 2018, 2019. We're just going to be looking at the year to date for the player. And then, so you can go and you can specify the team before you click on it real quick.
Sorry, yeah, you're right.
Before you click on it real quick, you can specify, like we said, like college men's, college women's, NBA, WNBA. And then also something that I like to make sure to do is that your viewing order, so when you go in and watch film, the way it automatically sorts is that it does your most recent games and most recent plays first, but you can switch that to random, which I kind of like to do just because it gets, it gets you a whole bunch of different looks as opposed to you're just looking at how they played in one game. Yeah, so you can, but that's not something that's super important. That's just kind of a little nitpicky thing that I like to do. And then, so after you have that, you'll specify the team, and then it'll give you their roster. So we're looking at the women's team, and Erica Ogwumike is our best player. She's a stud.
She was named today the Conference USA Preseason Player of the Year. So.
Wow, yeah, so she's cold. Her older sister won.
Two of them, she had two older sisters that were #1 picks in WNBA draft.
Yeah, and one of them won MVP in the WNBA a few years ago.
Yeah, and
so
she also has Olivia Ogwumike as her older sister on the team too.
Yeah, so they're very, very good. But anyways, so this is what, once you load up their player chart, this is what you're going to be looking at. It's going to be split up by, you're going to have your offense, defense, and then cumulative box and ISO we'll get to later. But basically you're going to start off with just looking at your offensive scouts, obviously. That's the more fun part. Defense, not quite as fun to watch and kind of analyze, but we'd like to get some defensive scouts in there. But for the most part, the stats that we're going to be looking at are going to be on the offensive end.
Sorry.
You're good.
Okay. I was going to have to do with the little bar at the bottom.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's the first thing I want to know. Yeah.
So,
that's probably good.
Notice at the bottom here it says outstanding statistics. When we're compiling the team scouts, basically just as it says, we're going to always do 3 specific stats: half-court 3-point rate, free throw percentage, and assist to turnover rate. But then you'll also include just a few others that specifically stand out to you. Yeah.
So basically in the formatting of this, you can, when you look at this later, you can read what we have written down in these bullet points. But in the main body of it is going to be your general stats. We'll show you an example of some of the ones we did last year. I think I probably showed that to most of you guys during our intro meeting, so you guys kind of have an idea already. But that's going to be just a bunch of bullet points of specific tendencies that you notice and stuff. And then, like you said, this bottom bar, you're always going to have half-court 3-point shooting percentage, free throw percentage, and assist to turnover. And then it's you'll have 2 or 3 more, and those are the 2 or 3 most important stats that in your time scouting the player you thought all right, this is the way we define this guy. These are his main things. Yeah, and those are just going to be short numbers, as opposed to in the body of it you can be a little bit more wordy and add some description of what's going on. Yeah.
So to do half-court 3-point rate, it isn't 3-point percentage. It's not how good they shoot. It's how much they shoot.
Yeah.
Again, I write it down in there, but it's just jump shots in the half-court. Percent of the time people shoot jump shots in the half-court multiplied by percentage of the time